Welcome to Not Another Business Podcast. I'm your host, Zachary, and I am here today with the lovely Brittney. And today we're going to go through very few questions, just like always. And Brittney is a wonderful person. And I've met her, a few years back now. What was that, 2019?
Like 19?
Yeah.
19, 18? One of them.
One of them, yeah. Yeah. And was that with highlighting Haiti?
No, that was Hope for Haiti.
Hope for Haiti. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's start. Who's Brittney? Give us an introduction for everyone who doesn't know you. Tell us who is Brittney.
I gotta say how geeked I am to be on this famous podcast right now that's being offered.
Oh, stop it.
A couple Ks or double digits or whatever, like triple digits. So I'm excited to hear what's the ending result. Are you going to sell it? Are you not? Are you going to keep this up? And oh my God, I'm super excited for that. But no, thank you so much for having me. Who is Brittney? Brittney, if I could describe myself like symbolism wise, I would definitely say I am a butterfly. I'm so free spirited. I just think that life should just be free flowing. And I just love butterflies. Like, you ever see them of how pretty they are? Mm-hmm. They're ever changing. Like, I feel like I'm an ever changing person. I don't like structure. I like to be in different places at different times. And, and something I'm so gung-ho about, like, it's actually in my Instagram bio, is like, I like to make a trademark everywhere I go. Mm-hmm. Like, a trademark that's so strong. Like, that means, like, you have really put the credentials to your name. Mm-hmm. And if I was to say anything, like, that's how I feel. Like, you're gonna know who Brittney Ballard is. And I'm not saying it on no famous level. I'm not saying it to... I say it because I think people should take pride in who you are. Yeah. And I feel like that's who I am.
I love it. This was wonderful. Life is too short for any of us to be just regular. Nowadays, it's so hard to find genuine people who love being themselves and who truly enjoys being even alive in this world. So coming across someone like you is like, I always look forward to that. It's like, it's lovely. And the energy is 100%, noticeable, like at a million miles away. Like, you can notice someone with that kind of energy too. So I love that breakdown. That was good.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, no, I genuinely feel like some people think I'm probably so genuine with who I am, but it's really me. I've been like this since I was a youngin', and it never really changed, to be honest. If you can make yourself memorable, make yourself memorable.
I love it.
I just happen to be loud and bubbly, and this is literally who I am. So you're definitely going to remember me, whether it was the loudmouth Brittney or whether she was so freaking excited all the time, or whatever. You're going to remember me.
Yeah, or the big smile, because I know you have a big smile. You love smiling. It's like, you're gonna remember one of them.
Oh, yeah. See, the thing is, I'm so happy braces paid off, because actually I was like this before braces. I'm going to be so honest. I was like this before braces, but then I got braces and I kind of smiled a little bit. Then I got them off, and then I'm like, oh, yeah, this is it.
It's on from there.
Yeah, laughs and giggles all the time.
I love it. And for the domain, or for anyone who doesn't know what she was talking about in terms of like the Ks and the selling and not selling, I feel like that should have been a show by itself. Like, I feel like that needs to be a show. Like,
what?
It needs to be live stream, me negotiating my domain name and everything.
Yes. Oh my God, totally. Like, I just love seeing the little updates you give us, because I'm like, oh my God, what's going to happen next? Is it going to ask for more money? Are they going to, like, I don't know, try to come and try to take it? Like, I don't know.
It's crazy that whole thing has been shown, because at first I was like, nah, let me not post that. And I was like, you know what? Screw it.
No,
and I was like, and then I posted the first time, and I seen the response I get. I was like, all right, cool, that's fine, whatever. Because I get responses a lot with like some random stuff that I'll be doing on my page. And then I went to my high school reunion, and I met an old friend from high school who was like, dude, I saw your post like about the domain and everything, and like I think you should definitely hold on to it. And I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, people are actually like following up, and like,
Yeah,
people are
it
intrigued. Like they want
happens.
to
Yes.
know what's going on. Like I'm like, that's crazy. Because he was like, yeah, you think you should definitely hold on to it. Don't sell it for no $250. If they're coming to you and giving you offers for more money, that means it has value and everything. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna continue. And then that's why last time I posted again, like the next thing that happened, I'm still waiting now. I haven't heard anything back. I don't know if it's gonna get accepted or anything. But of course, I'll keep everyone posted.
Well, I'm excited for that. And I feel very much, because I DM'd you the same thing. Like, honestly, your name has value and it'll just take off, and definitely keep it.
Yeah, it actually gave me a lot more confidence too. I I say this sometimes as if I have a confidence problem, but my thing is, again, this is what this podcast is about. Like, it's about letting people know and showing that side of building
Vulnerability.
things. Yeah, vulnerability. So my thing is like I'm in my head a lot of times. So I can come up with a name, or I can come up with a mixture of things, like whatever it is, or a business idea and everything. And as soon as I come up with it, I look at it and then I'm like, okay, I'm in my head. I'm trying to think of what Brittney would think about it, what this John would think about it, what this Jean or what this Jane would think about it. And then I start thinking and predicting everything from positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement. It's like compliments and, hate or whatever. I start thinking about all these things. And then now you're just confused, because when you do stuff like that, you end up just being confused. So when that
And you back
happened,
down and you don't want to do it
exactly.
anymore.
So when that happened, I was like, oh, you know what? This is the first time like I've actually felt good about like something that I created. And I was like, this is perfect for this podcast. Like this is what, like I said again, this is what this podcast is all about. When I launched in September of last year, I was like, I've been preaching the same thing. Like, you don't know what can happen. You don't know what's going to happen. You just get out of your head and get in there and get started on your journey, and then make it happen. And then boom, next thing you know, like I'm negotiating to sell
Okay.
my
Six
freaking
figure
domain. Like,
or like 7, 8 figures.
well, I did tell him, the offer is only good for the end of the end of the week, so that means now it's already higher.
Oh,
Any
wow.
more time after that? Because like right now we're recording an episode, so that means every time I record something or every day that goes by is like it's basic. The value is going up. So
I know that's right.
you
What
know,
did that Joe say? Yesterday's price is
is
not today's
exactly.
price.
Yep.
That's a little problematic, but I understand the value of that statement. Anyways,
All right. So, tell us, talk about what you do, and how you got to this point. So, give us a little rundown, a little brief.
what I do? Okay, so like professionally, I had a bachelor's degree in not had I have a bachelor's degree in
Talk
public
that talk.
relations. Also with 2 minors. I have a vet management minor and also a diversity and inclusion minor.
Ooh,
And so those are like the professional me. And then like the real me, what I love to do is interview people. So
yes.
AKA be the content creator. I did value talk shows starting. I did it August. I started in August 2018. And value talk shows basically, I well, let's really take it back. Let's really take it back, right? So since I was a youngin, like I said earlier, I would bring home report cards, right? But brought home the good grades because my mother's Haitian; she don't play that. So you gotta bring home the good grades, whatever. But
Of course.
in the behavior section, you would always see talkative or disruptive a little bit because I'm always talking in class. I'm paying attention, but I'm talking. So my mother, for the longest while, would just always be like, stop talking in class. But she also encouraged me to be a journalist. She's like, you should go to school to be a journalist. And I'm like, And then I remember like seeing like news anchors. Oh my God, I love news anchors. Like I just wanted to be a news anchor so bad. Like wake up, you see my face every morning, telling you the news. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, this is Brittney live from Channel 7. But
I can
that's
tell you've rehearsed that a couple times too.
oh my God. Okay, see, that's how down to earth I wanted to be a news anchor. And believe it or not, I got to college and, started to take those, communication classes for it. And I'm like, I'm lying to myself. I just really can't do this. But I love the field. I love how important we are. You know what I mean? Like we make
Hmm.
the news, the content and all that world. But so that's why I went down the public relations route. But as far as it comes to Value Talk Show, I just had, first of all, I had an admiration for a lot of talents, right?
Hmm.
Like, I never really grew up with talent.
Hmm.
Like, I personally don't have real talent. Like, I could do things. Like, I don't have like the artistic ability. I don't really have, you know what I mean? I love to dance, but it's not like saying like I had a real talent.
Hmm.
And when I saw for the city of Boston, like, well, Randolph. Let me give Randolph credit. I grew up in Randolph, but
Shout out Randolph.
I, yeah, Randolph. But just like Boston, Massachusetts, right? Like we, oh my God, have an overwhelming amount of talent, and I was always bothered at the fact that like we don't get the proper recognition. Like people are always highlighting New York, Atlanta. I mean,
Yeah,
California.
California. Yeah.
Yeah. But Boston, I felt like, oh my God, I want to be on the map so bad. And I just wanted to in reinvent what talent is. I felt like, yes, musicians and artists and things like that, but there are people that were doing things behind the scenes. Like I had a friend, her name is Mishka. I keep on saying had in past tense. These people are alive and well. Oh my God. I need to say, like, I have a friend, Mishka, and I remember she writes a whole series, right? And
Hmm.
so I felt like, oh my God, like I want to tell the world about you. Like, this is the coolest thing ever. You're a writer. Like, we're so far disconnected from what talent is. And I think it's um, just a really good thing. So that's pretty much how Value Talk Show came about. So I really wanted to like reinvent talent or like what people do and have value in it. I think a lot of people discredit what it takes to do what you do. I
Yeah.
mean, some respect on your name, you know?
Right. Right.
That was kind of like, yeah, so that's kind of like what I do. So in short, it's content creation, I guess. And that's really what happens.
And the wonderful part of it too is, in your breakdown, you said you never really had any talent, and that's your talent. You know what I mean? Like I've watched your show, Value Talk Show, many times, and I'm
Oh,
hoping to be on there soon, and I can't
yes,
wait to be
yes.
on there. And every single time, like you said, your energy, the way you're passionate about talking to people, and how excited you are to learn about and even tell people about, something or someone and everything. It's like that's a talent. A lot of us, we grew up with these things in the back of our mind, and then we never really recognize them because to us and to our culture also, they're not being recognized as talent. Because us Haitians, unfortunately, we have a thing with like downplaying people who like to do anything radio like, because we look at it as
Okay.
gossiping. We damn near tell people, like, if you're talking too much, we use it against you. We're like, why don't you go on a radio with loving to talk so much, and like we just kind of make you feel bad about liking to be a voice to speak and speak in public and all of that. So that could have had an effect on how you viewed that yourself, until in 2018 you were like, you know what, I'm just gonna not think about that, and all you needed the right inspiration too, because with Mishka, she's doing a lot. Like she's
Yeah.
breaking those barriers, and it's like, I don't care what people think, what people want to do, whatever. Like I'm gonna follow this and do it because my brain is telling me to do this, write this, put this down, all of that. And then she said, all right, boom, we're gonna do it. So same way too. Like I think, if for you to know, when I seen you launch Value Talk Show, and even down to last year, looking back, I'm like, you also inspired me to go ahead and get in front of the camera and do my thing and like, do a podcast and
Oh,
everything. So that effect that we all have on each other when we create things and we do things, like to me, I'd never really felt like I hated cameras. I still hate my voice on anything like microphones or whatever it is. Like in videos, I hate it.
I find so ironic, Carl, because I'm like, you are in the fashion industry, and the primary thing with fashion industry is to make people feel good and look good and things like that. But I'm like, you're not ugly. You don't have anything wrong with you. I don't get it, but I get it because we all have our insecurities. But anyways.
Yeah. So it's like, I always feel like anytime, like, okay, so recently I did a fashion show.
Right.
And I had to talk about my brand. It's been almost a week. I have not looked at the video because I was like, I don't want to listen to myself talk.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
We all got stuff that we deal with. And for me, it's, a lot of it is because language barriers, to me, always feels like, because I wasn't born here, this is not my language. I always talk myself down when it comes to speaking the language, because I'm like, okay, this is probably not going to sound like them Americans, and of course I had to overcome that. And then now look at me, I'm on a podcast now and speaking nothing but English. I have not spoken Creole on this podcast at all, actually.
Oh, wow.
So it's good. I think we
started from the bottom. Now he's here.
Yeah, exactly. So to go back, you said you have 2 minors. You have a bachelor's degree.
I do.
Which
means nothing. Which means nothing. If I can advise anybody right now, just go for the master's or PhD. Don't even waste your time getting a bachelor's. Okay. Okay.
Master's. Okay. There you go.
Yeah.
I think that's another thing, like another type of conversation I want to have at some point too. Like I'll probably have you back on and we're going to talk more in depth about like
life after college.
Exactly. We're going to touch up on that a little bit too, actually. So now that, you're done with the school, you're doing your thing, you got the show, and you got your hands in a lot of different things. So what ends up happening afterwards? So how has life been in the last couple of years to now?
Honestly, so as much as I loved my state, right, it wasn't giving me what I needed at the time when I left college. And, I actually talked to my cousin Marquia a lot about this, is like, when we came back after college, like meaning back to our parents' house, everything around us did not change, but we did, right? We acquired knowledge. We acquired a new lifestyle. We acquired so much. But when I saw my environment didn't move or change, and I was like, oh no, I got to get out of here. So
You used the term earlier too. You said something earlier. You became a butterfly, because
yes, I am a butterfly.
You got wings now. It didn't make sense for you to do the same thing around the block that when you were a caterpillar. Now you got wings. You gotta like fly away and experience different environment and all of that.
Yes, so exactly. So what I ended up doing was I moved to Maryland in 2020, in November 2020. I packed up my stuff.
In the middle of the pandemic.
In the middle of the damn pandemic. I didn't know a single
How was that?
Here. It was something, Carl. It was something. But I was just like, you know what? I'm going to thug this out. Like, I'm going to go to work. And at the time, I was a preschool teacher. So I'm like, it's going to be nothing. But I'm not going to sit here and lie. It got depressing real fast, right? Because you don't have friends here. You don't have family here. So most of the time, I was just in my little studio apartment, which was very nice, by the way. If you guys are ever looking to move to Maryland, I will point you in the right directions of where to live.
Say no more.
But no, it got really depressing real fast. So I think to keep me afloat a little bit, I was keeping up with the show, like just to feel some level of security of I don't know what I was seeking for at the time, but then
connection. It was, I think it was connection and a sense of like socialization too.
Yes, but I ended up picking up a few other jobs, and like one of them was the nightclub. So y'all know the social life is the nightlife is the social life.
Yeah.
So with all that changes, that was kind of like my life after college. I wasn't doing most. I wasn't having what can I say, like a 6-figure job or like starting to get the 1,000 job, but I was keeping myself alive, and that was kind of it. There was nothing else really going on.
I also do want to point this out too, and actually ask you, because there are a lot of folks out there, they up and move out this, out of Boston, and then oh my God, it's like Boston literally became the devil, and then it's death to Massachusetts and everything that's about Massachusetts. So with that, almost 3 years now, having moved out, has that been like, oh my God, this was the best decision I've ever made? And, this is, like, I want to be anywhere else but Massachusetts or Boston right now? Or has that been like, this was a mistake? Or is it more like neutral? Some days it's like, this was a mistake. Some days it's like, this was great. So what would you rate it as far as your experience?
It's crazy. I see the online posts so much about the hate with Massachusetts, and I'm sick about it because I feel like, every place has its pros and cons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and for me, Maryland isn't all cracked up to what it is. Like, I think this culture, though, is so amazing, meaning I've never seen so much Black culture, right?
In Maryland or from Okay, Boston.
Right. Coming from Massachusetts, you see, a lot of diversity. But here, the Black culture is strong. It's rich. I mean, oh my gosh, everybody owns everything. And it's so nice. It's so refreshing. And I'll always give Maryland that credit. But Maryland was not for me. And that is why I'm happy to go back home, because also what kind of influenced my decision to go back home too is like, again, like, as much as I've made friends here, to not have your actual family and like just people around you, and it kind of like bothers me a little bit. And now that I have a daughter, I don't want her to be raised with it's just like, all she really knows is her parents. So
right.
I think the hate towards Massachusetts is crazy. I don't agree with it because I feel like Massachusetts has a lot of value. I just think, we tarnish we tarnish our own ways, so to speak. Like, I feel like for Maryland, for me, I've tarnished some of my experience here, but that was on me. You know what I mean? And I feel like people do the same for Massachusetts. Yeah. There's just like a stigma of like, if you go up and move somewhere, it's like, it is a fresh start. It is refreshing, but I mean, if you didn't change as a person, what really changed, What really changed? So I think, the different scenery, like one of the things I'll give credit for Maryland is the weather. Oh my God, I be laughing at all my Bostonians now when I see I was struggling with that cold weather, and I'm like, oh, can't be me, honey. But at the end of the day, I love where I'm from, and I will never. And that, like I said, like, that's why I'm going back. I feel like there's so much value in Massachusetts, and I hate that people just have the negative, always want to say something mean about Massachusetts. It isn't fair, nor is it right. And I feel, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I feel the same way when I hear those people too. And I think in my head, I usually go to like, something else was wrong and something else is going on. It has nothing to do with Massachusetts, because when I say we, even though I'm technically a mass resident at this point, but not really. But we often don't recognize how good Massachusetts is until we talk to other people. And of course, if it wasn't, as good? Would all these people be moving here? Would the rent be going up so crazy? Would the housing market
Okay.
be so wild? And it's like,
Let's talk
would
about it.
exactly, would
Let's
these
talk about it.
investors come in with like bags of cash ready to buy grandma's house and all that kind of stuff? Like,
Okay.
none of that would have happened. It's
Yeah.
because the opportunities here are endless in the professional environment. When it comes
Yes.
to getting your education, when it comes to even the culture, the mixture of culture, when it comes to sports, also when it comes
Yep.
to the food, everything. Like, there's a lot of things that Massachusetts is well known for.
Okay.
Of course, a lot of people can argue and can agree that when it comes to support in terms of like showbiz or in terms of
Mm,
um you know content creation and everything like that, like, there's a lot of things that we can all agree that is lacking a little bit, and
yeah.
there's also what you said, like, every, like, in Maryland, everybody like owns everything, like, in terms of the black community. I think we're lacking that around here.
Yep.
So it has its ups and downs, like, as do
Yeah.
everything else. But I don't think people need
And
to go crazy and just crap all over it.
okay. See, one of the things I always tell people is Massachusetts is for the elite, right? I think people have this misconception that we're the nightlife, and you know what I mean. We're not a state that has the capacity for that. At least not yet. I
Yeah.
think we're developing all these. You know what I mean. We're looking at the other states that have, like New
Mm-hmm.
York and Texas and things like that. Like, what people don't realize is all these other states had years on us with development, especially with nightlife,
Mm-hmm.
especially with like entertainment community. But Massachusetts was more of like the grandma. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like it's the grandma. It's or the grandpa. Like, basically, like they were more focused on the education,
Mm-hmm.
on scientists, on health, like all those things. And I feel like but we're learning, and as a culture, or as a state, we're moving in the right direction, but it's not gonna happen overnight, and
Mm-hmm.
it takes a lot of work. And I'm glad that Massachusetts is now starting to form so what word am I looking for? Like some solidness. That's not a word, but solidifying. That was a word. What the hell is the word? Solidifying some great bases, right? Like, we are starting to partner with each other more. We are starting to connect with each other more. But I feel like people want this progress overnight, and it's not going to happen. Those
Right.
other states had years on us.
Mm-hmm.
Years on us. You know what I mean? Like, New York was literally like the hip hop foundation, but Massachusetts is known for that, and that's okay. And it's like,
Right.
I'm glad we're known for the elite.
But Massachusetts is also known as, for other things in terms of, like, for example, like you said, New York, you wouldn't go to Massachusetts to come find you, like, great rapper or like rap culture. But
Mhm.
we got a whole bunch of actors and movies and all that kind of stuff,
Okay.
coming from here. It's like, you probably want to come here if you were looking for a great up and coming actor. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're looking for a great scene, great like street light and everything, so you can,
Yep.
create a movie, direct a movie or something. So it's all on how you accept it and how you take it, for yourself. I think another way I would put it too is Massachusetts is not for the young and party and celebrating and all that kind
Right.
of stuff. It's like, and I think that's the only thing. That's what I ended up telling myself, because a lot of people that says Massachusetts, I hated Massachusetts, blah blah blah. It's like, you can tell, like, if you know them well enough, or if you hear what they're saying, a lot of them are just basically telling you, like, Massachusetts just couldn't offer them what they were looking for, and that could have been like a presence or a party or a good time or whatever. It's like, because they
Yeah.
they always complain about, like, everything closes early, and it's like there's no happy hour, and there's this and there's that. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, if you want those things, like, go to New York, go to another state that offers those things. But that doesn't
Right.
mean that this state is subpar now, because it doesn't have clubs closing at 6 a.m. And you know what? The
Okay.
older I get, the more I'm like, you know what? Keep it at 2 a.m., please. Because if I ever
Okay.
step
Because
out,
I'm not gonna lie. By 11, I'll be yawning.
listen, if I ever step out, I'm trying to get there by like 12:30. and hopefully be able to get in. Because sometimes I'll be cutting it close just so they can say you can't get in. Be like, oh well, I tried, and go right back home. If they do let me in, all I got to do now is be there for about an hour and a half max, and then I can go home and have a regular day the next day. Now imagine if Boston was all these clubs were closing at 6 a.m. every weekend. We would have no social life. Like, it would be insane. So I love Massachusetts. Actually, Massachusetts is my home now anyway. So all right,
Good.
so let's talk about. And you could use any point in time. Let's talk about some major wins as well as some major losses. If you don't want to call them losses, we could call them challenges as well. And I know you got some stuff in there, because again, we talked about your college years and you've done some events. You've done some shows. You've achieved your greatest accomplishment, which is having your daughter. You've moved out of state. You've done so many things. So there's got to be, and we could probably keep them to about 3 each. So 3 major wins and 3 major losses in your lifetime.
In my lifetime, okay, so.
It doesn't have to be from, when Brittney was 5, it could be
in the recent years.
In the recent years.
Well, yeah. So I am turning 27 this year. So
ooh.
In the 26 of the years of living, yes, I've seen it all. I've actually seen it all. I would say definitely a win, honestly, is granting or obtaining the role of motherhood. I think that's major for me. I love my daughter. I would do anything for that little girl. I think that just means a lot to me. Like, there's a level of love that I've unlocked with myself, right? Like, I always tell people, well, I don't always tell people, most people don't know this. Yeah, it's one thing to get love from people, but when you actually have this abundance of love, when you see something or someone, it's a whole nother level, So I gotta give my daughter credit for that major win.
That's one.
That's one. Another major win is definitely, I don't know, a major win. I feel like being seen, okay? It's kind of crazy. I have a homegirl named Eva. By the way, her music is so dope.
Mm-hmm.
I should check it out. She's a great singer.
Yeah, definitely send me a link or I'll look her up.
Yeah, she's great. She got a beautiful, beautiful voice. She's up in Boston. And she hit me up not too long ago. And she was like, hey, I'm hosting this, kind of like this music show, and she was like, I want you to be the host. And I'm like, oh my God, I felt so seen. I said, little love. Oh, so that was a major win, because I just felt like, wow, oh my God, you're thinking about me? Wow, that's all I could really say about that moment. It was a really cool moment. And then I would say the last win would just be I don't know, connecting with people. I've met so many people across, globally, honestly, and it's a dope feeling. It's that constant euphoria that you feel. It's meeting people is a thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. If I was to say anything to anybody, the importance of artists, how they have their palettes, right? Not all artists, every single color, but the people you hang with, or the people that's in your circle and things like that, just make sure your palette is different colors. Meaning, whether your friends are younger or older, well, try to stay away from the younger folks, but you can learn from anybody's lived experience, So I would definitely keep it so much afloat. The age different, the different tax brackets you guys are in, the different jobs. I love to see different people and different things that they're doing, different ethnicities. I think that's the coolest thing ever. So that's one thing I would tell people, just really make sure your palette is just
expand your network.
Yeah.
Expand your network.
Definitely.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's very valuable. And of course, it's Brittany. You bring the value. That's why you got the value talk show. So that's very important because we can't really achieve anything without actually being able to use each other. And even though people overuse that word and they make that a very bad word to say, to do,
Mhm.
using people, and it's like, yeah, using people is bad in a bad way, is horrible. Like nobody likes to likes to be used or feel
Right.
used, abused, or none of that. However, if you are correctly in like in a healthy way using your network, you can get yourself in a much further. You can get yourself much further in life than you can imagine, and you can also help get other people further in life, because that's where people get confused when they talk about using people. People think of, oh, I don't want nobody using me. Well, no, that's not exactly what that entails. It means
Mhm.
if Brittany is looking for a job, Brittany, and I know that Brittany can let me know, or I can call Brittany and be like, hey, by the way, they're hiring at such and such, and you should definitely check them out. Or hey, Brittany, I know someone that, like, for example, you did that earlier. You mentioned Mitchka, you mentioned Eva, with the
Yeah.
music and with the stories, like that's using one another. It's like
Yeah.
your friends could be listening to this right now and be like, oh my gosh, she didn't have to do that. And guess what? Next
Yeah.
time they might bring you up to somebody else. And it's like it's not much of, it's not like using, like abuse in an
Right.
abusive way. It's more of an exchange, right? It's exchanging with one another our values. So
Yeah.
I think people get that misconstrued all the time, thinking like, oh,
Yeah.
I
And
don't.
yeah, no, I was just gonna note, like, the opportunities are there for anybody and anybody that wants it. And I think that people just feel like, oh, you're gonna take my shine, you're gonna take my, like, bro, there's enough everything for anybody. I
Yeah, yeah,
swear. I swear to you. Nobody's gonna rob you of your opportunity.
right. And that's their own insecurity talking. Like
Yeah.
we got insecurities in all different ways that we can imagine, and people speak with their insecurities. And it sometimes it be loud. It's like, hold on, chill out, chill out. Nobody need to know that you're very insecure about people being in your spotlight. Nobody
Right.
needs to know that. So, all right, thank you for that. And if you're all set now, can let's talk about some losses or challenges
Losses, the learning
or
experience.
learning
The
experiences.
learning experience. Okay, so Um, it is weird as much as we talk about like networking with people, but sometimes people do not want that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the major loss that I have learned is like I will tend to burn some bridges because I feel like the minute you make this all about me and you don't try to support the cause or things like that, like a lot of that happened with highlighting, Hope for Haiti and highlighting Haiti, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I couldn't believe the amount of Haitians and what they do and all these things. But for them to come together, oh no, I don't want to work with that person. Oh no, don't attach my name to that. Oh no, this is that. That used to piss me off because
Mm.
I'm like, wow, like it's sad because it's like the whole end goal is for us to rehabilitate Haiti and as well connect with each other on the state level, the globe level, and things like that. So it got really annoying to hear. So, you know me, I mean, sometimes I don't press my tongue. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people heard a lot from me. And did that burn bridges? Yes, of course. Do I regret it? No. Because sometimes some people need to hear the real.
Exactly. You got to tell it how it is sometimes, whether it hurts some feelings or whatever. You got to tell it how it is.
Yes. Another loss is like, I don't think this is a loss or like a learning thing. Like, build a team. Listen, as much as you think you are some superhero or like, I could do bad about myself, which a lot of us can, but you are going to wear yourself thin. Okay, honey?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely just build a team, whether it's one or two people, whether it's, you know what I mean? Like, there are some people that believe in you and want you to succeed so bad. So just definitely you can use your resources while you can. And I think,
So does that mean as a lesson for you or as a loss for you, you feel like you should have built a team or focus more
yeah,
on building a team?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. And lastly, support. We talk about that all the time. I don't know if this is like a loss, but I feel like it does get discouraging a little bit, right? When you wanted that support from people and you don't get it. Um, it really deters you from your passion a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm turning this more of like a, not a win, but I don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, the lack of support, you mean?
yeah, the lack of
Yeah.
support will really make you not want to do what you want to do. So if I could say anything to anybody, like honestly, it gets there. So
Mm-hmm.
I can really say it does get there. Like it may take people some time, but just don't even let that affect you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm at a point now where I'm like, it's just me and my two fans. I put that in my head because I'm like, if I
You're
go
too
focus
fan,
on, it's just a number I put in my head, right? Like,
too fan.
that could literally be.
Way more than that.
That's my expectations because when you go, you sit there, you're thinking, like you said, like there is such a thing as lack of support, and sometimes you don't
Yeah.
really notice it, and you don't really realize what, like, when or how it's gonna come to you, right? So you could think, let's say, for example, in my head, I could think like this episode is gonna come out and it's gonna get, it's gonna be the great episode that does, like, changes everything, and then I have that pressure in my mind now, and then I go out with the pressure, and then I release it, and then nothing, right?
Yeah.
It's crickets. That can hurt you mentally if you have these expectations with certain things and how they're going to do. However, you do have to aim high and think highly of yourself enough to know that this is the best thing that I'm doing. This is the best thing that I'm going to put out. And this is the one that people are going to hear and say, yo, this is the best podcaster out there, or this is the best event that I've ever been to. But when it comes to support, it's like support can really disappoint you. So sometimes for me, I'm just like, it's just me and my two fans in the world, right? I call it two fans because if today it's just one, I'm chilling. I know I got one more coming. If it's two, I'm like, all right, good. I made it. You know what I mean? It's me basically being content with what I have, whether or not it's a lot or it's a little. I'm content because it's just me and my two fans, and that two fans could be anybody at any point, at any moment. You know what I mean? Like if today Brittney tunes in to, tune into my show, whatever it is, like I love Brittney for that. If tomorrow somebody else tunes in and Brittney doesn't show up, I still love Brittney for that. And I love the new person. It's like every single day, it's a new battle. It's a new way of doing things. It's just, we have to just get out of our head sometimes. And I'm learning that myself, even with the podcast and with life in general. I'm learning that.
It really is key to be your own cheerleader, as the people say.
Exactly.
Be your own cheerleader.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's good. It's great with what you do as well, as far as Value Talk Show, because you're showing people and you're letting people know, I. It's the same thing. It's like you're letting people know, like, I'm one of your fans, right? I'm one of two of your friends, of your fans. Like, you're letting them know. It's like, look, I want to show you to the world. To me, like, this is how much value you bring. This is how valuable you are to me. And I want to let the world know unapologetically, like, that I support you, that I love what you're doing, and I follow you, and then I keep up with what you're doing. And of course, some people don't. I hope everyone finds value in that. Some people don't appreciate that because they're thinking like, you're not going to give me 1,000 buyers tomorrow, so I'm not gonna support what you're doing, or I'm not gonna, come back to what you're doing. It's like, nah, man, like, relax, just enjoy the process.
Honestly, yeah, with Value Talk Show, I what I really enjoy is like when you go to the mall, right? And there's that directory. And the way I've envisioned Value Talk Show was it to be that directory, right? Because we
Mm-hmm.
want to know there's always going to be something you need, right? Whether it is an MC for your event, whether it is an artist to draw something up for you. So I really envision Value Talk Show to be some type of directory, some type of guide, but for Massachusetts. Like I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
put on
Mm-hmm.
my Massachusetts people, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah.
So that was kind of like the energy I was bringing to. And then within the guests themselves, right? Because Valley Talk Show is clouds and yellow, the
Mm-hmm.
color yellow and and clouds. Because I think for so long you're thinking in the clouds, your project, your whatever is just like in your mind, and it's like you're circulating that. But like once you start to bring that love,
Yeah.
and yellow is so bright and so radiating that it's like it's just so, and it's peaceful. So I think I try to incorporate all that to my baby Valley Talk Show, which I have
And
neglected. But anyways,
I love that you put so much thoughts into your stuff too. Like I never even
yeah,
thought about that. Like that's
yeah.
amazing. You have
Mm-hmm.
you really go in deep with like with the thoughts and the idea behind that too.
You know something?
Uh,
I
You,
did.
you got to make sure you get your domain now because, Value Talk Show is a great name. So soon, you never know.
Maybe I'll be right up there with your Average Business Podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, you need to do
I'm
that.
selling mine. I'm just kidding. I need the money. Diapers ain't cheap. I'm just kidding.
I hear you. I hear you. So, so quick recap. You say three of your wins. Number one would be your daughter. Number two would
Oh,
be
yeah.
being seen, acknowledged for your talent. Number three would be being able to connect with people.
Mhm.
And also with the losses, number one was people not being down for the cause.
Mhm.
We could have a separate episode about that one.
Mhm.
And number two, not building a team. And number three, the lack of support.
Yeah.
All six of those things totally like go hand in hand and what makes Brittney Brittney. And
Yeah.
and even with those things, you still managed to achieve a lot in your life, and you're an inspiration. You're, showing people, like highlighting what people do and what they're good at. And, Boston needs more people like you, actually. And that's why Boston gets such a bad rep, because a lot of people come out here or they only think for themselves. Like no one is as selfless like that around here anymore. Like people are just thinking like, I need to come up and get the hell out of here. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
well, what's going to happen for the next person? What's going to happen for the young person looking for the motivation of somebody being from Boston? Like they can't find that. They got to find it in someone from New York, someone from Miami, someone from Atlanta, someone from, California. It's like they got to go elsewhere to find that motivation. And the problem is a lot of times the same people that talk bad about Boston, that they're the problem. You know what I mean?
Literally, remember I said that?
Exactly.
Some people are not willing to do the work, are not willing, do the change. And that's why I think it's key to just,
Yeah,
build the networks.
exactly. Sometimes you got to be willing to be the change that you want to see in people. You got to be
Yeah.
willing to change yourself to really notice the change around you. It's like it's too many people just up and leave and then think because the environment
Because they
changed.
took the easy route.
It's like, no. All that problem you had was actually, you needing to do some inner work. Like you need to actually sit down and like think about like life and actually face your problems. Like I had an episode previously, and we had talked about that. Like I think it was called rebranding yourself, and similar situation. She moved out of state and had a daughter and everything. And then at some point, she just had to sit back and actually face everything in her life. And then ever since that happened, now it's like, oh, you know what? Actually, this is what I needed to work on. And then now it's like, oh, you know what? I can work on that. And actually, my life is going to get a lot better because I know what this is and I know how to point this out next time. I know how to notice it next time before it even becomes an issue. And then boom, life starts to get better,
Yep.
and that's what a lot of people are not doing.
Not at all.
Yeah. So how's your 2023 been so far?
My 2023, honestly, I could just say I'm just so grateful. Like, I started to do new things in a sense, like, I wrote myself a letter.
Ooh.
Yes, I wrote myself a letter last month about just everything I needed to change, right? Because I feel like, 2021 was probably the worst year of my life because, I lost my grandmother, and that was the love of my life.
Condolences. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. But so then 2022, I had my daughter, which brought me a lot of joy. But I was going through such a transformation with that. You know what I mean? So I feel like, it's like, it was a battle within myself. So anyways, this year I definitely said, there's just a lot of stuff I got to work on. So I wrote myself a letter for the month of March, and I did make some of those changes.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't know, I'm geeked about that because I didn't think that I would do it. A lot of, I mean, harsh reality is sometimes we procrastinate. Yes, we get in our heads in a lot, like you said earlier. So I don't know. I'm just really super, super excited. And like I said, I think, I learned this from some speaker, like how he said, to label each year. And I definitely feel like I hope this year is the year of transformation for me. The last few years have been just so crazy and chaotic and really life-changing, but I just want some transformation within myself. So
yeah, and I've done it in the past without even realizing that's what I was doing. It's good to have goals. It's good to have a list of achievements, but some of us, we swear we're gonna sit there and achieve 50 different things every month from January to December. And this is our first year ever thinking or even doing such a thing. No, you're probably gonna achieve about 5 of those.
If that, maybe
exactly.
One.
Exactly. People go into the new year and they're like, I'm gonna drop 100 pounds this year. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that.
It's not happening.
It's like,
I mean, and I don't even say that to be mean. It's just the harsh reality to achieve certain goals is not reality.
Big goals it becomes a reality when you start to make small changes. The same way with when some people think I'm just gonna move out of state and life's gonna get better. It's like,
nope,
okay, you can
probably accommodate to a whole nother state.
Exactly. It's
don't know a lot of stuff.
You can probably build up to that, and then when you move out, it's gonna be the greatest thing that you ever done. Because guess what? You already started doing the work. You started to change your mindset. You started to change your environment. You started to change your even a job and all that kind of stuff. And then down the line, when you moved out of state, now it's a new life. But I still don't knock people who wants to change or who change their way of living or whatever, because at the end of the day, we all got to do what we got to do, and if it makes us happy, hey, we just got to do it. Did you have any major things that you're looking forward to in 2023? I know we kind of just talked about that, but
moving back home.
Ooh, that's happening in 2023?
That is happening in 20. It is planned out. I'm actually am looking forward to just going back to what makes comfort and just more. I feel like now I'm coming back to New Massachusetts. I've heard all the great things that they're in placing, so I'm excited.
It's still full of potholes.
Yes. Yeah, I don't understand why they never fix the road, but
they changed a bunch of exit numbers.
I heard. Yeah, I'm excited for all those the good and the bad changes.
Yeah, Mother Nature has been having its way. Some days she wakes up happy. Some days Mother Nature is like us nowadays. There's a lot going on that we don't know about.
Yeah, no, I'm not looking forward to the weather, but comes with its territory, right? I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
can't have it all.
Yeah. Anything else that you wanted to achieve in 2023 besides moving back home?
I know. When things on that letter come true, I'll let you guys know.
All right.
You'll follow.
Hey, I respect it.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. And we can't wait to have you back in Boston.
I'm
You know,
excited.
I'm
I
I'm
can't wait to see, we could definitely do our little fashion show because I see Haiti International's doing its thing,
Thank
getting the
you. Thank you.
design. So I'm excited.
I gotta do better, and I gotta be more aggressive and just believe in myself a lot more. That's really what it is, because it's like for so long I've just kind of held this thing to the side and be like, yeah, it's just this thing that I do, like it's just a hobby or whatever.
Yeah.
And just like even with the podcast, I look at it and it's just something that I would be doing like just as a hobby, and then these things become valuable because even as it took me all this time for me to realize only recently that there are a lot of people just like me, right? And those people are like the people that came here from Haiti or even from a different country and barely, little to no English, changing their lives and becoming a new person, like becoming something else, right? And a lot of
Yeah.
us, what we ended up having to do, we had to draw out inspiration from within. Like we had to become our own source of inspirations, because we look around us and we're like, everybody else is just doing their own thing. And it's like we have no one to be inspired by.
Yeah.
So I
Feels
start
like a
to
disadvantage.
right. I start to realize that there's probably someone from 2010 that came here after the earthquake, just like I did, that can listen to how comfortable I am now speaking about my experience and speaking about, like, even just speaking in general, and that can inspire them to actually not be too much into their head when it comes to being comfortable, because there's still some of us that came here from 2010 who are not comfortable speaking out loud for people because we were teased so many times, and we are so insecure about how we're gonna say certain words, and being told like, oh my god, you have a very heavy accent, blah blah blah, like being called fresh off the boat and being called Africans and whatever. Like there's
Yeah.
so many different things that we often go through when it comes to our experience in the US, that nowadays I'm like, I gotta embrace that. I gotta use that to my advantage. I gotta become that person and really do the best that I can to actually motivate these, like anybody, like to motivate these people that are listening to me, that also share the same experience that I've been through. You know what I mean? So
And you're
it's
doing the damn thing,
I'm
okay?
trying. I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best. It's been a little tough the last few months with the podcast. This is the first episode I'm recording actually in 2023. Can you believe that? Like, it's crazy.
Wow.
But it's with time and work and everything
Yeah.
that you're doing every single day, and you can certainly relate to this too with the show. You wake up some days and you're like, I'm going to be all about the show today. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Release it and everything. And then, boom, you got to go get some groceries. Boom, you got to go to work. Boom, you got to
I know. Life be lifing. It be lifing.
All right. And I already know the answer for this,
You know the answer.
but I'm going to ask you anyways. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest, how happy are you?
I'm working on my happiness. Believe it or not, I am working on my happiness back, I would say like a 7.65. Like getting there.
That's interesting. I feel like I would have automatically give you I would have
A
automatically
10?
set up a 10.
Yes, no, I just feel like a lot of personal issues are happening to me, so I got to
Life
work
be
on that.
lifing. Okay.
Yeah, life be lifing. So it kind of interferes with the happiness. It's like as much as I'm like, you know, generally I am thankful and grateful, but like to get my pure happiness back, like yeah, no, it needs some work.
All right. All right. I that's good. That's good. Seven is good.
Yeah,
I think seven is like an average good
yeah,
life or an average happy life because it's like it's not anywhere. Well, hopefully, it's not anywhere like that's like putting you in a position where you feel like you're forcing the seven to happen. Like if you're naturally and
oh no,
generally at a seven, I
yeah,
think the other stuff will just work themselves out because they're a part of us being alive and actually living.
right,
As long as you're continuously making sure that you're getting to 7.5, 8, 8.5,
yep,
9, you'll be okay.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anything else? Like, actually, I'll ask you this: when
Yeah.
is Value Talk Show coming back?
Oh my God. So remember earlier I said build a team, y'all, build a team. I don't know. And maybe until I figure out my whole life, like less of my personal issues, because the reality is, and I'm sure I don't know if you're dealing with this, Carl, of like, you gotta like research your guests and fight the questions and do all the things that I personally it's not that I don't have time for it. I just don't have the bandwidth or the capacity right now. Like I'm just
Mm-hmm.
so focused on so many other things. So I don't have an answer. I miss it so much. I love talking to people. And honestly, you're going to be like the first guest back, but I
I'll be
don't know.
honored. I
Yeah,
can't wait.
yeah, yeah. No. I don't know.
I'll be sure to not delete anything on the web so your research can be a little easier. You
Yes,
know,
yes,
but then
please,
again, you
please.
wouldn't need that anyways. You know.
I'll be stalking. I'll be stalking heavy. Like I will go way back, like to your Haiti days and all that.
Mm-hmm. Maybe
Hmm.
I mean, if anything, maybe kind of think of a different way to approach it, or
Yeah.
do it in a different way. And even what I'm thinking too, even for not another business podcast, is like I'm thinking about having a weekly co-host. Or like somebody else
Ooh,
that I can co-host with, because
that's
what
nice.
happens is, like you said, you got to build a team, and being or having someone where you can actually bounce ideas off of, and having
Yep.
someone where you can actually like say, hey, why, would you be able to take care of this, and then I'll go take care of that, to share the load with.
Hmm.
It's very important, it's very valuable. So I think for me, like, I don't think I don't want this to all of a sudden be this thing where it's like, you know welcome to Not Another Business Podcast. I'm Zach Zachary with my co-host. Is like it's like a permanent thing, but I think for a few times or a few weeks, I'm definitely in season 2. Also, I'm gonna definitely do some co-hosting with other people, and that could be like that person could be there for as long as they want. Like if they want to do 3, 4, 15 episodes, even they can.
Hmm.
If they just want to come in, do one episode, they can. Because my podcast is also based on like sometimes I have to do solo episodes,
Ah,
and I would much rather talk about that with like, hey, how you feeling about such and such? Like, I think this is my experience. What's your experience? And like just have an exchange. So maybe,
yeah, that sounds like a good plan.
yeah, maybe the same thing for you too, right? For Value Talk Show, if that's
Hmm.
within um your ideal and your vision for the show.
Right.
You know.
Definitely gonna need some kinks, but I love the ideas for real.
And anytime if you need me, if you want to bounce some ideas off of with me, and talk about some ways to kind of bring the show back and everything, whatever I can offer obviously is yours. You can, we can talk about it. I can, if anything I can help out with, I will.
I know. Thank you. I appreciate you.
You're welcome anytime. And maybe when we do the podcast, when we do our episode, we'll sit down and plan it out and work it out too, and make it like a standard for the next time, and make it as easy for you as possible.
Sounds good.
All right. You have anything else to add?
No, I think we covered so much. So great conversation. Honestly,
I
can't believe
loved
this went by.
I loved it actually. That was good.
Yay!
Was
Yay!
good. How can people get in contact with you?
You want to contact me? Honestly, just Instagram. I think Instagram is my favorite app. I don't know. Like, I be on Instagram. I don't care for Snapchat like that or Facebook, but I be on them.
I think Snapchat to me, Snapchat died like completely.
Yeah.
I go on there. It's like I think if you're on Snapchat nowadays, probably just to like just kind of keep up with people or keep up with things in general, or like just to gossip or whatever.
It's a gossip. First of all,
yeah,
Snapchat's
just like
real federal. Okay, Snapchat is telling every single move you make. You screenshot, you save, you do. Okay, it's too federal for me. I'm sorry. At least Instagram, I could be federal and no one will know.
I hear that.
I'm just kidding. But no, seriously. But no, if you want to find me, it's Brittney_blossoms on Instagram. So BRITTNEY _BLOSSOMS. Blossom.
Where did the name Blossom come from?
Where did the name Blossom? So, oh my God, like, I feel like forever people used to call me like Brit Brat, or like just something with Brit, right? So I always loved cherry blossoms. And funny enough, Maryland is known for like that Japanese cherry blossom festival, blah, 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 whatever. But no, and I just always felt like that flower followed me. And funny enough, my name is Brittney, so I'm like, oh, I'm calling myself Brittney Blossoms. Like, and I always say, okay, and there's a little real truth to it. I said if I was ever a stripper, I wanted them to call me Britt Blossom. So there's that. So it's also my stripper name.
All right. Nice little history there.
Well, you know. But no, I will forever be Brittney Blossoms.
Awesome. And now that you've said that too, like if you could ever, and I think I feel like this time around, I feel like I know the answer to this, but I'm gonna ask it anyways.
Go ahead.
Right now, if you could place yourself in a different profession, what would it be?
If I could place myself,
like it's something that you forget about whether or not it's paying enough or whatever it is, like in something that you would truly enjoy day in and day out, what would it be?
Interviewing people. Honestly, I love it. I really do love it. And I also like when we can curate events on it, like the open mic nights or talent shows and things like that. I love it.
So I would say a talk show host.
Yeah, a talk show host. Yep.
Well, technically, you are already a talk show host.
Yeah.
So you would more on let's see, who can I? Let's say like a Kelly Clarkson. It's like the first name I can think of.
Oh no.
Okay.
I don't want it to be like super gossipy. Like I don't want to sit on the couch.
I meant more in the settings and what you're doing day in and day out. Because there's also Jennifer Hudson has a show as well, a talk show. Sherry, I forgot her last name.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, she replaced. Well, she took over for Wendy, and then she ended up doing her solo. But I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, now that I think about it, Kelly Clarkson was probably a bad. It should have at least been somebody black and not
a black queen, honey.
And not like I sit down every single day and tune into Kelly Clarkson either. I've seen it in passing here and there.
It's okay. It's okay too.
But yeah, so that's good. That's good. I would definitely see you in an environment like that, actually talking to the people and bringing the energy and actually like a Tonight Show type.
Like a what?
Like a Tonight Show, like a late night talk show type of thing.
Ooh,
Like one of
yeah.
those, like, because like the Tonight Show, late night with Seth Meyers and all, like the
Hmm.
Daily Show. Those are more of like, okay, what's going on? Let's talk to the people. Let's inform you what's going on. Let's analyze certain things. I think you would make a great Daily Show host.
Thank you.
I,
Oh my God.
I, I knew I would find it. I knew I would find that because I'm a visualizer. I like to visualize things. It's
Same,
like
same.
definitely can say that you are already a talk show host. And if in the name of profession, like if you were to be placed in, or if I was to put you in a different profession, like I would definitely put you in the Daily Show.
Thank you, Carl. That would definitely suit me right. I like that.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad, and then we'll speak it into existence.
Okay,
The Daily Show with Brittney, Blossom.
yes.
We'll make it happen.
Yeah.
Definitely. All right. Well, this was wonderful. I enjoyed every minute of it.
No, same. Thank you so much for having me. I can't thank you enough. I feel so famous, and I cannot wait to see, what's the next chapter for you and everything that's going on. So
Thank
thank
you,
you so
thank you,
much.
and thank you for agreeing to do this.
Of
Thank you
course.
for replying and giving me a time.
Yes.
Thank you for giving me a time now. Like, thank you for everything in general. Thank you for your
Oh,
inspirations. Thank you for your words of encouragement as well. Because
of
even
course.
in behind the scene, like you've always supported me, even with the
Of course.
clothing line, with the podcast. Thank you for everything, honestly.
Oh, you're welcome, and I'll do it in a heartbeat. You know that.
I definitely know that, and I really appreciate it. And we'll always welcome it, and we'll always appreciate it.
Oh, all right, Carl.
I like to thank my people, and it's like sometimes I feel like I don't do that enough. I
Oh,
simply just have a mutual understanding, or I simply have a set standard in my head and my mind where I'm like, anything that this person ever needs, I'll be there for them, and I'll always give them, my all, and as far as support and everything. But
yeah.
this year, even with this podcast in general, I'm gonna make it a point to actually thank people for any way, and like everything that they've done for me, especially if I can remember it all. Because some things I don't remember, but I like, if somebody has done something for me, like I usually will continuously forever repay you for it, like, because I appreciate it, especially if I didn't have to ask. Like I never had to ask you to put me on the fashion show, like, the college show as well, as a vendor. Like you just reached out and supported me, and I love that, and I really 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 appreciate it. And if there's anything I can help out with the show coming back, please let me know. And then hell, I'll bring my whole equipment to you. Be like, all right, there you go.
Well, your character speaks for itself. So I really I rock with your vibe. It's very genuine. Like we always meet sometimes we meet disingenuine people, but you really and you're good at what you do. Like genuinely, I seen your stuff. I'm like, oh, this is so dope. Like
Thank
so
you.
dope. And so
Thank you. You're gonna encourage me to do more now, because
yeah.
I be thinking, I'm like, this is not dope enough. Like,
No.
I'll be in my head. I'll be in my
Are
head
your
too much.
biggest critique. Oh my God. I know we all have it, but dang, Carl, I know you have to look at yourself like, dang, I got it.
It's
I
it's
got it.
it's a war. It's a constant war. I'm telling you, it's a constant battle. It's like, it's always a debate. It's always a back and forth. It's
Yeah.
very tiring, actually.
Oh. Well, you'll get there.
I'll get there.
Definitely.
I'll get there.
Yeah.
That's my goal.
No.
That's my goal. All right. Well, it was wonderful having you on the podcast. I can't wait to have you on here again. I can't wait to be on your show. All right. And I'll be happy to help with anything. So
Of course.
All right. All right. So until next time, this is another episode of Not Another Business Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Zachary, and
Until next time. Bye, y'all.
bye. Bye.
Bye.
All right. My thanks once again to Brittney for joining me on this episode. Such a wonderful person. I am so thrilled with this conversation we had, and I hope you all enjoy it as well. I can't wait to have her again on the podcast. You know, I got to make that happen ASAP. And with that being said, I will see you in the next episode. Welcome to season 2.